Y'all ain't never just tripped and pitched it and just looked at the whole situation. Cause once you look at it, you know really do. They don't give a fuck about it.
Saying my G, I'm not.
Oh yeah, that's something that we definitely want to talk it about, because I mean it definitely needs to be said. But anyways, thank you for tuning in. This is Stephen Powell once again, Global Free Speech, as well as Real Talk with Stephen Powell. Once again, I have on the line Trouble Soul, who was on last week. Say hello, everybody.
What's going on, people? What's going on? What's going on?
Yeah. So last week we touched on the issue of the Black Lives Matter protest and movement and everything else. We are going to slightly continue on with that particular conversation. However, I don't want to focus too much on just what is going on here in America. I do also want to look at what's going on elsewhere as well. Now, as you guys probably have noticed before, everything come on air. Trouble Soul and I, we were just having a conversation before everything started going, and he actually made a pretty good point. Why don't you go ahead and introduce basically what you wanted to bring to the table real quick?
So basically, I had this spark in my head that us as a people, we need to not sit here and be. As a matter of fact, no, I wanted to speak on universal racism.
Yeah.
And universal racism is, it's all over. It's plastered, even whether if we want to look at it or not, because we're still in a day and age where we're sitting here calling each other nigga.
Mm-hmm.
We know that we weren't the ones that made that, that made that term. We didn't do that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, like what's really going on? Because everybody keeps talking about black and white, when really we're against ourselves also.
Exactly.
Because we sit here and we suppress each other and and just really talk down to each other because we still use that word.
Exactly. Which is actually counterproductive to what civil rights movement was trying to achieve, what Black Lives Matter right now is trying to achieve, which is basically get rid of any type of racial term out of our vocabulary as well, because that is an issue. By basically walking around, I mean, regardless, they could try to sit here and say, we took the word back, we changed it to this, we changed it to that. Regardless, it still derives from the original word. And in all actuality, it creates a mental prison. Not prison. I'm sorry, prison. Because it's like the little things that we say. It's like, for example, this is what screwed my head up. Did you know that the peanut gallery, the term saying the peanut gallery, is actually a racial term?
No, I didn't.
Yes. Yeah, I ended up finding it out. I want to figure. Well, hold on one second. I actually have to look up real quick where it came from. Hold on, because I remember reading it and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, like it took me a minute to realize that the word coon was like a racial term, because I used to say it. I used to say it just to be saying it, and someone had kind of like pumped my brakes and was like, that's a racist term, and I didn't know that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So, it's a lot of racial slurs, out here that we're using day to day, and it shouldn't even be going on, because that's basically what's giving these people the ammo to do what they do, plus on top of whatever other hidden agendas they have.
Yeah.
So it's just it's madness, and the fact that that everybody is so caught up on cops killing us and all of that. We need to stop killing us.
Yeah.
We need to stop killing us, because we're still doing this. You know what I mean? We've been doing it forever. And it's like I said before, I feel like this is what gives them the motive and the ammo to be like, okay, they kill each other every day, all day. We might as well do it with them.
Yeah.
They already know it.
Exactly. So basically, the I just looked at it. The peanut gallery means to basically describe the cheap seats at the back of a theater, which of course only people of poverty were able to afford the cheap seats in the back.
Wow.
So basically, it's like say back of the theater, upper balcony. People who are criticizing what is being said and things of that nature as well. So yes, that is part of its original thing, which is of course how we use it. Nothing from the peanut gallery. However, it is a way to basically kind of speak bad about those who receive, basically, like people in poverty who end up buying the cheap seats in the back and, whatever. It is so. I mean, the peanut gallery itself is not necessarily as bad of a word, but I mean, there are several different phrases and different things. It's like the rule of thumb. Did you know that that's actually derogatory towards women?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So basically, back in the day, it used to be legal for a man to be able to beat his wife, and the rule of thumb comes from you could not beat your wife with a stick wider than your thumb.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
That's where the rule of thumb originally came from.
What?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
So that was actually more along the lines of misogynistic, but I mean, misogynism to a degree, I mean, you might as well consider that a form of racism as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So, also, I wanted to also bring up today, people all over the world who are coming together in the name of George Floyd, as well as all those who have, passed away at the hands of police officers unnecessarily. Places like Japan, Germany, the UK, France, all over the world, they're storming the streets in protest to of course point out, the injustices here in America, some of the injustices that are going on even in their own country, things of that nature. However, there was one thing that I, because, of course, those who actually follow my Facebook page, the global free speech, I've actually brought this up before, and I've actually had people saying, they need to mind their own business, to stay out of American issues and things like that. When in all actuality, I mean, the more support, the better. If it wasn't for, who was that? Tommy and Juan Carlos and all of them at the 67 Olympics, when they raised a fist in the air, basically symbolizing the civil rights movement here in America, bringing global awareness to issues that were going on here in the country. The civil rights movement, yes, eventually it would have, caught tread. But to be honest with you, when the world started to come together in regards to the civil rights movement and felt as if that is only fair to give human rights to everybody, regardless of skin color and things of that nature, it's like things like that, so it's like when people look at like Colin Kaepernick, you know what I mean? When he kneeled, they're like, oh, that don't belong to sports. Well, guess what? Look at the 1967 Olympics and you tell me.
Right.
There was during our conversation, there was something that you had said that I can't quite remember what it was that you said. It was good God, man. See, the sad part is, I stopped smoking weed a long time ago. Oh, my memory is crap, man. I'm telling you, this is some bullshit.
Did it have something to do with with me mentioning the universal racism? No.
We not the universal racism, because we already touched base on that just slightly. We kind of touched that a bit, but it was something else. It was right before you were speaking about the racism. Good God, man. Man, I can't think of it for nothing.
Which, by the way, if anyone hasn't seen it, there are some people in the NFL regretting not signing Colin Kaepernick and Pete Rose, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
No, was it Pete? No, Pete
I think it was Pete Rose.
Pete Carroll. No, it was Pete Carroll.
Oh,
Pete Carroll
okay. No, Pete Rose is somebody else. Okay, yeah, never mind. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's why I had to. Yeah, Pete Carroll from the Seattle Seahawks. He basically tried to say he regretted not signing him. He don't know why he didn't sign him. First of all, you know why you didn't sign him.
Exactly.
You can try to sit there and fabricate you didn't know why you didn't sign him, but you know why you didn't sign him. Because you didn't want the backlash, my guy. You didn't want it. You didn't want the backlash. That's why you didn't sign him. So, if you just happen to hear this, just know you're not low, my G. You're not low at all.
Yeah, I will say this. Okay. When it comes down to it, all in all, I definitely respect what Kaepernick was doing. I definitely respect the fact that he was willing to use his platform to, of course, try to bring, light to this particular issue that's currently going on. But I mean, as a football player, and now I'm going to put the protests aside. Okay, I'm going to put the cause aside for just a moment. Okay, because since we're on this subject, Kaepernick's numbers was dropping. He wasn't producing the way that he was. Now, of course, all quarterbacks go through that as well. I mean, even if you look at Drew Brees, he would sit there and, and he was, for a while there, he was Mr., stand up for the anthem, which of course he just recently changed his tune. And he said that, after speaking with colleagues and friends of color and getting a better understanding of what's going on, he actually changed his step and decided to switch it up recently. However, everybody's stats throughout their career eventually ends up declining.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, look at Brett Favre.
Always wins.
Yeah,
time always wins.
Exactly. So when it comes to Kaepernick, I feel as if, I don't feel as if he would have left. He would have been thrown out of the league. I do not feel like that at all. I do feel as if, however, he would have eventually ended up being dropped onto the free agency, probably picked up by a lower end team and things of that nature. But all in all, he still would have been in the league. Yeah. And that's with, if he would have never started protesting and everything else, I feel like that more than likely would have been the situation with him.
Right.
Yeah.
And just to go back on the whole Drew Brees thing. My whole thing was you shouldn't have just never spoke on anything. I understand what your whole deal was, but you left that stigma there. Like, okay, you could have all the conversations you want with colleagues, but my thing is, mean what you say and say what you mean, and that's what you did. That's what you did. Well, you meant what you said, and you said what you meant.
Well, not defending his previous actions, mind you. Mm-hmm. Most people's, everybody does this from time to time. Most of the time people react, instead of, actually trying to figure out what's going on. It's like something starts happening. All of a sudden, it's like a word vomit, and they're just saying this, that, and the third, and da-da-da-da-da. I mean, it's like, for example, Natalie Portman, okay? Now, mind you, she did not say anything negative about the Black Lives Matter movement, okay? However, the one of the co-founders, I cannot remember her name, she ended up doing something with the celebrities and things like that. Natalie Portman happened to be one of them. She was actually talking about how, Natalie Portman at first said that she would need to do more research before she could say that she supports everything. Because, of course, people are looking at defund the police, abolish the police, and they look at it as just completely get rid of the police. When in actuality, that's not the case. Which I actually want to dig a little bit into that as well. However, so Natalie Portman, she did her homework, and then she came back and she said, I am going to support Black Lives Matter. And she has been very vocal about supporting it because she went out and she did her research.
And see, that's the difference. That's the difference. like I get, and believe me, I understand that. But when we talk out of our necks, that stuff we do as kids. We're talking about someone that's probably like 20 my senior and 10 yours.
Well, old habits die hard.
Okay.
I'm not saying this is an excuse.
No. It's not.
It's not an excuse.
It's not. But I can attest to that. I could, because I still listen. There's still some habits that I'm trying to shake.
Yeah, exactly. So, now, I mean, there's times, and I'm one of those type of people. I try not to jump the gun. I mean, there's certain things that I would see on social media, and automatically I'm like, oh, yep, you know, and then end up having to go back and deleting it after, you know, I start thinking about it, and I'm like, maybe I should actually look into this a little bit more before I jump the gun, you know. And then I start doing the research and I actually start reading into it. Then I'm like, okay, yeah, no, maybe I need to backtrack that. You know, so I mean, it was just like, for example, I mean, with Kevin Hart and the whole homosexual joke. Remember when they said he couldn't? I think it was the Grammys, not the Grammys, the Oscars. When he was supposed to host the Oscars and everything else, and then they brought up
he couldn't do it because he made a joke about homosexuality or something like that.
Yeah, something about his son. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like an old tweet that he did a long time ago. And now, granted, you know, especially as a man of color, he should understand discrimination better than a lot of people.
Right, absolutely.
Now he should have never, in no way, shape, or form, you know, got out of pocket like that, you know, and then automatically just said what he said. It was kind of insensitive. I understood that he was just trying to, you know, he was just simply trying to tell a joke. You know, and he made a mistake, you know, but everybody was, you know, down his neck and still blah, 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 blah. You know, the man came out and he said sorry. The man, you know, he came back, he retracted his statement and acknowledged his wrong, you know, and that wasn't enough for everybody, you know. Now, I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a few things on this podcast that I'm going to end up saying that is out of pocket. You know, and I'm telling you now, I'm gonna come out, I'm gonna apologize a few times about it if there's a bunch of backlash. But after I apologize about it and people want to still bitch, I'm going to look at them and say, you know what? Fuck you. You know what I mean? I apologize about it. I backtracked, you know, and so on and so forth. So, I mean, that's, you know, once again, you know, people have to accept that, yes, people are going to jump the gun. People are going to say stupid things. Sometimes it's things that they truly, honestly do not mean it in the context that is being taken. You know.
Yeah. And that's what we have to. That's what we have to learn as human beings. Because a lot of us just don't. A lot of us just see it one side, and it's not that way. Everything is black and white.
Exactly.
And a little bit of gray too. You know, there's a gray area.
Exactly. So. And you know what's funny too, because for a long time, it's funny that you mentioned that, because for a long time, you know, I was always one of those type of people that, you know, looked at things as, you know, as simple yes or no. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I did too. Yeah.
Did you know, when it came down to that, and I didn't believe in gray areas. You know, so it's like, you know, to me, it was black and white. It was, did you do this? Yes or no? Yes. You know, regardless, and I didn't care, you know, what you were feeling, what the situation was, this, that, and the third, you know, I'm going to have it out for you, you know, and I didn't think about there really is, you know, a third option of thinking. And it's just like you said, the gray area. There is always another way to approach a situation versus, you know, it's this or that. Sometimes some situations, not all, I'm not saying this with all, but some situations do need a little bit extra attention, a little bit extra explanation, or, you know, basically taking in consideration of people's feelings as well. Right. Not just your own, however, you know, whoever it is that is going, who said or did, you know, X, Y, and Z, as well as everybody else. So I mean,
Wow.
I mean, it took me a while to figure out that yes, there actually is a such thing as a gray area. I'm still trying to retrain my mind in that aspect because as I mentioned earlier, old habits die hard. So yeah.
No, believe me, I go through it, because I just recently went through a situation like that. But
Okay.
the thing is that this particular person felt like there was no gray area. It was just going to be a black and white situation. So for me, if I run into this individual again, I feel like the line was drawn. You left it black and white, so I'm going to leave it like that. Because I'm okay with seeing the gray area. I'm good with that. But if you leave it like it's black and white, and we could have just met somewhere in the middle.
Exactly.
I'm gonna leave it where you got it.
Exactly.
Don't be upset with me when I react the way that I react.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, a lot of things does depend on, circumstances and
Right.
things like that. So yeah.
Right. For those who don't, for the viewers who don't know me as a person, I'm very understanding of a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And as much of a stubborn person that I could be, I try to be just as open-minded as I can. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
Because-
you have to be. You know what I mean? Because the moment that you lock yourself inside of a box, you're not going to learn much more.
Right. So, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? So, when someone comes to me with the black, treats something as if it's black and white, then, for me, you just drew the line, where it is. So, don't try to have an opinion or don't try to talk down because I choose to go the same route that you did.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Which to a degree, I mean, is definitely hypocritical.
Sure.
Just real quick, Trouble Soul. Just give me 1 second, and for the viewers, I do apologize. I'm having a slight difficulty, so just give me 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Sorry about that, guys. Just had to make sure that, of course, everything was straight away. Once again, I got Trouble Soul on the line. He's still there. He hasn't. He hasn't ran away from me yet. So, so he's still there.
Right.
So, yeah, exactly. So, I definitely also want to touch base on the whole confusion that I have noticed regarding what's going on as far as defunding the police and abolishing the police and exactly what that means for some people who may be watching this and not fully, completely understanding what is going on. Now, I'm not sure how many people actually look at the city budgets and exactly how much money goes to the police department.
Thousands, millions.
Yeah, actually, on average, and this is on average.
Okay.
This is across the United States. 54% of city budgets go to police.
Woo! I didn't know that.
Yeah, 54% of budget goes to the police.
That's a big percentage, though.
Yes, that is. Yes, that
That's
is.
huge.
So that means that there's less funding for schools. There's less funding for after-school programs to, of course, help children stay off of the street and get away from gang violence and gang activities and things of that nature. That means that there's less funding for public libraries. There's less funding for, let's say, even hospitals. There's less funding for so many different things that actually help out the population in that area.
Right.
And then on top of that, the police are also burdened with extra task, so to say. It's just like, for example, if a police officer was to be called because, say, like if a mother had a autistic child, which this is a true story, mind you. I'm going to use this as a perfect example because I feel like it is a perfect example. Okay.
Yeah, it's the proper time to talk about it, so you need to.
Yeah. So a mother who had a autistic child, the child was starting to get basically kind of violent. Did not strike his mom or anything like that. However, was going through one of the fits that, a lot of autistic children go through, throwing things around the house and everything else. Now, the mother over the phone had, of course, expressed to the 911 operator that her son is autistic and he is throwing a fit, and she feels as if that she needs to get out of the house safely, or, try to de-escalate the situation, basically help her calm him down.
Right.
Now, let me ask you something. Do you feel as if that is a job for police?
No, it's not.
It's not. So you're telling me that 54% of the budget is going to police to handle those types of calls.
Before you go into that, and I used to work with autistic children. Once again,
I did too.
This is something that the viewers may not know.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked with autistic children, and I myself, I have a not only a physical condition of disability, but also mental. Y'all just won't know because I speak with so much, correction and etiquette, so you would know. But there are some things mentally that go on with me that I can't help, let alone can't describe. So just certain things with me, it just don't add up, it just don't click. Like certain stuff with me, it kind of messes me up because of that mental part of it. But absolutely no, it's an autistic child is not a threat, let alone not even call for a situation like that to where you have to involve the police.
Exactly. So, which I mean makes more sense if they were to basically put more funding towards social workers or towards people who actually handle autistic children on a daily basis. So when those type of calls come in, they are the ones interacting with the family, while the police stay back and allow that person to do their job. The police should only be there if, last case scenario, the social worker says, somebody's is about to be killed, whatever it may be. Now, more than likely, if it's an autistic child, that autistic child is not going to have a weapon. Well, I take that back. Could have a knife, but is more than likely not going to think to go get a gun or anything like that. Okay, which they can come in. They have tasers. They have other means of taking down a individual with autism, instead of coming inside of their house and shooting them dead like they did with the example that I was trying to use. Now,
they didn't do that.
Yeah, they did.
They didn't do that.
They came inside of the house, bro, and killed the autistic child. The police did.
You're kidding me.
I am not kidding you at all. Matter of fact, let me pull up the name so everybody can look that up just in case. Hold on.
Right, just in case if everybody thinks you cut corners. Because you got my curiosity. I can't believe that. And not to you know what? The thing with the funding, it's like I said before, this is a part of the hidden agenda. This is a part of their whole design. There's more things that go into that. So
this is a different one actually. Now this was it doesn't matter, as far as the race,
right,
okay,
right.
Because it's still a child, okay. But this is a different example, not the one that I was just speaking of. However, a Louisiana judge released graphic police video Wednesday from last November. Mind you, this was back in 2016. Okay.
Wow.
So basically, if it was last November, this situation happened back in 2015, when two deputies opened fire on a car and inadvertently killed a 6-year-old autistic boy.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh my God.
But I believe. Hold on.
That's
was
crazy.
Shot in the leg? No, not that one. I'm trying to find. Was it a 6-year-old boy was killed? That's the Louisiana one I just read. Shoots autistic man, unarmed, black therapist. Man, I didn't even know about that. A black therapist looking after autistic patient was shot and wounded by police officer in North Miami.
Wow. Wait, the therapist was shot?
Yes.
Or the autistic man was shot?
It was the autistic man. Yeah, it was an autistic man. He had his hands up. He said, "I got my hands up in the air, sir. Why did you shoot me?" But this was back in July 2016. So for all those who are actually watching this, just mind you, and the ones I want to sit here and say, "Oh, it was just George Floyd," which to me, if you're saying just George Floyd, you are just plain dumb, because there have been multiple shootings that involve police officer of black individuals.
Yep.
So if you're really that fucking stupid, go look some shit up. Period. And this is me being as real as possible. You're a dumbass if you think otherwise. But anyways, let's go. I really want to find the one where they literally went inside of the house and shot him dead.
That's unbelievable.
Death of 8-year-old autistic son, claims it was an accident. Another police officer, police says 9-year-old autistic boy kidnapped, killed near Miami. That's nothing to do with that. Where the hell is it at? But regardless, just the ones that I touched on.
That's what I'm saying. Like, even as you read on, like, you know, it's amazing that this is how brutal this particular unit of so-called public protection is.
Well, the thing is too, it also stems back to what they mean by defunding, you know, because they're not saying to get rid of the police. They're saying to take some of that 54% that you're giving them and put it in and put some of that into, you know, situations that, you know, like I just mentioned, for example, autistic children, or you know, they get a call, you know, about anything that has to do with mental health. The police are not the ones showing up at the door. It should be somebody from who is certified to handle those particular things.
But that's the thing. The hidden agenda doesn't want that. They don't want that. They don't want, you know, they don't want to fund, you know, things for autistic children, boys and girls clubs. They don't want that.
Well, then again, too, is because, I mean, it's a dream of a militarized police. You know what I mean? Because of course, because in America, of course, you know, anybody who is anybody knows that we have a proud tradition, which has just recently been broken, mind you, of making sure that police officers stay out of not police officers. I'm sorry. The U.S. military stays out of political affairs, which of course just recently was just broken with Donald Trump when he actually ordered the National Guard to go in and gas peaceful protesters and shoot off. I believe it was the little pepper bullet things, whatever like that, right? And that was the first time since who else had to come in? Believe
which by the
Kent,
way, I just want
the shooting at Kent State, I believe they had the National Guard.
I just want to shout out my boy Bobby, because he was a part of one of them protests, and I actually got to have a sit down with him, because he actually, because I wanted to know what the experience was like, was getting tear gassed.
Yeah,
he got tear gassed.
Oh, so he was at one of those protests that got tear gassed?
Right.
Yeah.
It blew, because I didn't know, you know, like I knew he was protesting, but I didn't know he was going in that hard with it. So then when I met up with him, this was probably about maybe, I think this was a day before we did the topic on what was going on.
Oh, so he did his protest the day that I went out was protesting.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
However, right. Of course, I'm in Michigan. You're in Ohio, so
right.
You know, yeah.
So I talked with him for about an hour, you know what I mean? Because we touched other things. We touched on other bases, as far as like our upbringing and stuff like that. But this particular subject that we were on, he, I don't know how it came up, but we were it just happened to just hit the fan. And when he was just telling me, how, they just came down there and they were just tear gassing people. Some people were down there helping people, like wash the tear gas out their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
People were coughing and gagging and just going through it. And I had to ask him, I said, what does this tear, like, what does tear gas, what is the experience like? He said, listen, when it hits you, because it's like, if the wind blows, it's going wherever the wind directs it.
Yeah, exactly.
Wherever the wind directs that joker, it's going, and if you happen to be in the midst of that, oh yeah, you're just
or being pushed in that direction by the police.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just done. You're done.
I mean, luckily enough, at the protest that I was at, I mean, the police were actually they were helpful. They didn't come out in riot gear. They did not try to agitate anything. So I mean, to be honest with you, I mean the protest that I went to, it was very successful. And I definitely, by the way, if anybody at the Owasso PD is basically seeing this, I definitely appreciate what you guys did out there. And I definitely appreciate the love that you guys gave, especially out there to Flint. Flint really pulled through. Flint was awesome.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
I'm glad the protest was peaceful, but also successful.
Exactly.
Because I surely was worried about you guys. I was worried.
Oh, when Ari and I went out there, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Because I had already heard and got to sit, and got to and chop it up with a fellow protester, from here.
Yeah.
In Ohio, and he was letting me know how chaotic it was downtown Ohio, and I just didn't know if that kind of, display was just going on everywhere, wherever it was being where protesting was going on.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I definitely had deep concerns.
I wanna fuck your head up for a minute. So now a lot of people don't know this. However, there also are, a good deal of people that do know this. Did you know that tear gassing is actually considered to be illegal in war?
No, I didn't know that.
Yes, tear gas is actually one of the things that if you were to use tear gas, it actually would end up raising flags, and that is considered to be a war crime.
But you can use that stuff
on your own citizens. But turn around and was mad at Gaddafi for doing it.
See what I'm saying?
You see that you see the hypocrisy with this shit. Yeah. Oh my God, America is such a fucking. Yeah. I mean, don't get it wrong. I'm glad I was born here versus somewhere in the Middle East or some shit. Right. But this place is fucked. It's fucked.
And like I said, it's only like that because of the hidden agendas, the people that are behind the curtains, the puppets. The puppet masters. Excuse me.
Well, I don't see. This is the thing too. Is when it comes down to that particular topic, I do not want to shift blame anywhere besides the American people. Okay. The reason why, but it stems to the just like you had said, the overall goal to basically militarize the police. I mean, you sit there, you see the police running around in tanks and things of that nature. Since they can't use the military, why not let's militarize the police? Which is a form of fascism within itself. Right. I'm sorry to say, but I don't have. I know. I probably have met one person in my life that has a rocket launcher.
Yeah, I haven't met not one.
And he was
I probably met somebody that got a musket.
And he was a proud backwood redneck. I mean, like, yeehaw, like, coolest dude ever though. Coolest dude ever.
Right,
but he was like he was kind of like a doomsday prepper. You know what I mean?
Right.
But all in all, for the most part, we don't really have a bunch of things that could take out a tank. What the hell do the police need a damn fucking tank for?
That's true. That's true.
Tanks roll down the street. I'm thinking about Tiananmen Square out there in China. You know what I mean?
Hey, listen, we can't even get our hands on AK-47s without drawing suspicion.
You feel me? But yeah, let's give people with 9 months worth of training some tanks. Yay! Oh crap! I hate when I do that. I knocked over the camera. I had it set up in a perfect position. Oh, it's still good. It's still good.
Okay.
But yeah, man, like it, to me, it's just completely ridiculous. When in all actuality, you know, I see it like this. Okay, it's like with the American education system. Have you ever like bothered to Google American basically the ranking system for American education among the 22 industrialized countries?
Yeah, it shot the shit. Yes.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible compared to the other 22 industrialized countries. It's horrible.
Yeah, it shot the shit.
You know, but you know, it stems back to, you know, what you were saying about basically the hidden agenda and everything else. Mm-hmm. Okay, because I mean, if you truly honestly think about it, you know, it's like, you know, civics class. A lot of people don't even know what civics class is.
Please educate me, because you just what?
Prime example. Okay, so civics class used to be a class that was taken in high school, which basically educated American, teenagers, as well as in some cases adults, about what their civil rights are, and break down each and every single one of them as far as the constitutional rights as well as their civil rights, and broke down every single one of them to make sure that you completely 100% understand exactly what your rights are.
And know the difference of those rights.
Exactly. Now, they took that class out.
Oh.
So that's why you don't know what it is. It's nothing. It's not something new. It's not something new at all. This was a class that was made long ago, and then they took it out. I want to say they started taking it out of classrooms, I believe, around the 80s. That's when they slowly but surely started phasing it out.
And that makes sense. That makes sense because I won't even, you know, yeah, the Americans' educational system, it shot the shit.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's crazy because how, you know, in different parts of this great country we call America,
mm-hmm.
in certain, you know, different states, school system is crazy compared to other states.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Michigan actually has one of the worst educational systems ever, but Ohio actually has one of the best.
Yes.
You know, and they're right next to each other, but there's a huge difference in the educational system between the two. You know, but to basically kind of support, you know, what you know, to get to the point of what I was saying regarding civics class is, if you don't know what your rights are, when they take them away, how are you going to know that they're taking them?
Good point. You don't even know what your rights are.
It goes right back to basically what you call the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
The dumber you are, the easier you are to divide, the easier you are to manipulate.
Right.
And then on top of that, it's like, you know, it's like, for example, look at the trend that's going on now in America. You know, less and less people want to actually do research.
Right.
Nobody wants to bother to try to understand something anymore. Everybody just wants to run around, be in their feelings, and, you know,
and have their opinions.
Exactly. You know, you have conservatives over here talk about, oh, you know, leftists or snowflakes and this and this, but when in all actuality you talk about Trump, they get more emotional than you know, a woman getting proposed to on prom night. you know, you know what I mean? It to me, it's all hilarious. Yeah, I mean, this is all bullshit. It really is. It's all bullshit. You know, and I find it, and this is why I blame the American people. It's because they see things like this happening. You ask Americans on a daily basis, do you trust the government 100%? Do you think that the government is 100% honest? It doesn't matter who's in office. It could be Barack Obama. It could be Bush, that little fucking weasel, or Clinton, or whoever.
They all crooked.
Exactly. You know, and the sad part is, you know, I'm a Bernie guy. I love Bernie Sanders. You know, anybody who follows me on Facebook, you know, the global free speech and everything else, I'm a big Bernie Sanders guy. I love that motherfucker. He's a great guy. He supported the civil rights movement. Yeah, people will sit here and say, oh, he didn't play like a major part or anything else like that. Yeah, I mean, he was still in college. He wasn't in politics yet. But, you know, he still at least tried to do something, and he did try to bring awareness to the civil rights movement. Even got arrested. Bernie Sanders even got arrested for protesting during the civil rights movement and everything else. So, you know, that's why I like Bernie. Now, would I sit here and never say I would trust him 100%? Fuck no. You know, fuck no. You know, but the sad part is we understand that is basically how we feel about our government, but we have not ever done anything about it. You know, look at who's coming up in the 2020 election. We got one jackass versus another one.
Yeah.
You know,
and I believe they're talking about what's his name?
Biden and Trump.
Yeah.
That's the sad part is, you know, anybody's better than Trump. And I can guarantee that if you decided to go down and actually vote this time around, I bet you anything, you'll sit there and say, oh, this one does not say Trump. I don't know who the fuck he is, but I'm voting for it. That's how bad it is right now. I will vote for a dirty sock at this point. To be
watching a video, and it was basically about the hip hop star Young Jeezy.
Yeah.
And you know, he was basically, you know,
I liked his the way he started off, like his first album. His first album was really good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So he goes on this, not a rant, but he spoke about, I need to do my research as far as like who's running, because you know we need to get this man out of here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we put Obama in office. And, you know, I'm sitting here laughing because the thing is, whether if it's Obama, whether if it's Biden, whether if it's Trump, they're all a part of the same umbrella.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You know, and I've actually got a lot of criticism because I consider myself a democratic socialist. Okay. I don't consider democratic socialists as actually a part of the DNC. Mm-hmm. Okay. Because I'm not one of those people like I'm gonna go out, you know, and be all hoorah over Joe Biden. No, I personally think he's a freaking weasel. You know, he supported segregation back in the day. He wanted to continue busing and things of that nature. So I mean, when it comes down to Biden, yeah, people can say, oh well,
the segregation thing in '93.
You said what?
The segregation thing in '93?
No, I'm talking about the whole purpose of the civil rights movement.
No, but see, I was reading something about him where he made a statement in '93.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, he made he made a statement basically to a degree suggesting a new form of segregation to a degree. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
When I saw that, I cringed.
Mm-hmm.
Because once again, I felt like Jeezy was basically trying to lead the people to vote for this guy. And for me, to me, that's a form of coonery.
Well,
I don't like it.
Well, I see it like this, though. Okay, as far as who is currently in office right now, Trump is he's a threat. He is. He's a threat.
America's Hitler.
He is a threat to American democracy. He truly is. He has basically tried to bring in the U.S. military onto our soil to basically combat against peaceful protesters, basically suppressing constitutional rights of people. He talks trash about our allies, but then befriends dictators like Putin and Kim Jong-un. There's multiple things that he has done to me that is truly, honestly, a bigger threat than what Joe Biden is. Don't get it wrong, Joe Biden to me is still a threat, but I don't feel as if he is as big of a threat as Donald Trump.
Okay.
It's like, for example, Barack Obama. I wasn't a fan. I mean, don't get it wrong. I mean, I had love for the man. He wasn't a horrible person or anything. However, I wasn't like a super fan of Barack Obama either. It's like HR 347, which took away a partial amount of our freedom of speech, things of that nature. There was particular things that his administration had done that to me, I'm like, okay, you kind of put a bad taste in my mouth, And I try to give everybody a benefit of a doubt, minus Donald Trump. And the only reason why I did not give Donald Trump.
And by the way, you put me onto that, and that's what made me go look at it and realize, like, to me.
Oh, you talk about HR 347 when I brought. Yeah. There was actually several other things, but that's just one of.
Yeah. No. But that's what opened the gates for me to look at other stuff. There was other things that was going on in there that I that's what made me say they're all a part of the same umbrella.
Yeah, they are.
Because it's little things like that, and they try to be low key about it. But it's little things like that. Just let me know, you're not for us.
Well,
you're for them.
Another thing too is for the viewers and as well as for you, Trouble Soul, look up a book that was made by the UN back in the I believe it was in the 80s or early 90s. It was it had to been it had to been late 80s, I believe, because the first Bush was president during that time. It's called Agenda 21. And it was a book that basically, like when you first read it, at first you're like, okay, this sounds it sounds great. Talks about basically preserving the trees and animals of this planet, basically trying to heal the planet, and so on and so forth. But as you keep on reading it, it gets darker and darker and darker about population control, lowering the amount of people that are on this planet and so on and so forth. Which granted, I do believe better education is a route to take because yes, this world is getting overpopulated. However, the way that it came across as like it's a mass genocide type of deal.
Right.
But there were several things that was brought up inside of that book that has already passed. It's like, even if you look at basically like FEMA camps across America and things like that was a part of Agenda 21. You know what I mean? There's so many different things that if you were to read Agenda 21 and then truly honestly sit back, open your mind, quit being so closed-minded at everything, and truly honestly just open your mind and look at things as if you're seeing it for the first time, like you're just now relearning it. Okay.
Wow.
And think about that book and then compare the two. You would sit there and say, okay, this is a little disturbing. So for those, once again, who is paying attention to this, please look up Agenda 21. I do believe that you can actually find a free PDF online, so you can just like read it on your phone, read it on your Kindle, whatever it may be, and get woke. Man, it sounds like somebody's dog in my backyard. Yes, I'm home. Supposed to be social distancing. I hope everybody at home is social distancing.
Right.
Right.
Keep hand sanitizer.
Yes. Make sure that you lube your hands up really good with all that.
Yes.
Yes. You know, safety first, everybody. Safety first.
Safety first. Yes.
We don't want chafing. Yo, I'm wilding out on this one today.
Listen, it gotta be said, man. It gotta be said.
It definitely does. It definitely does.
What did Young Turk say? The truth is.
You talk about the rapper?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought because remember there's also a news network called the Young Turks. I'm sorry, Young Turks. Turks.
Oh.
Good God, why can't I speak?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
But yeah, the Young Turks, you should definitely look them up though. They're definitely worth watching. They're pretty they're like one of those type of news channels that is like right down the middle. They'll talk crap about Democrats, they'll talk crap about Republicans, and they bring facts to the table. So, you know, they're pretty fair with their reporting. So I definitely yeah. Okay. But yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, but Young Turk, he said something on an intro by a hip hop artist that I'm very favorite of. His name is Trey the Truth. He's from Houston.
I don't think I've ever heard of him.
He was saying, like in this recording while he was in prison, he was saying that people avoid the truth because he said it was something and unpleasant. I was trying to get what that other word was. He said people
take a comfortable lie. It's basically like saying, you know, people will prefer a comfortable lie over the harsh truth.
So yeah, right. So, you know, and that's what made me say, you know, that's what made me think of what he said, because people can't handle the truth for some odd reason. And at some point, we need to be able to scarf the truth down and not get a disturbed stomach by it, because this is just what it is. Exactly.
And and to be honest with you, you know, I mean that's why I truly honestly I'm glad that, you know, I have the type of mind state that I have. There's several times where I am dead set on a idea, or I'm dead set on an ideology, period. You know, and I'm thinking that I'm 100% right. I basically cross my T's, I dot my I's on the topic until somebody who actually has a little bit more knowledge than I do come around and, you know, they talk about this, and this. Of course, I give my rebuttals, you know, and then bring up why I feel this way, or even Google text regarding, you know, the topic at hand. You know, however, you know, I've had several people, you know, change my mind about a lot of different things, who are knowledgeable, who look at things from a totally different perspective that I may have not noticed before, you know, and that is something that I encourage a lot of people to do, is to don't be afraid to understand you're human. You're not going to know everything. If you truly honestly think that you know everything, you are a problem to society. You know? And I truly honestly believe that, you know, it's because of those people who think they know everything, who don't bother to do any sort of real fucking research. They look at probably one or two articles and say, oh yeah, okay, I did research. No, that's not called doing research. That's just called skimming through some shit and trying to find something that just proves your point.
Yeah, you gotta at least spend an hour, at least.
More than an hour, man. Sometimes, because depending on the topic, because some topics are so complex, you know.
That's just the minimum.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about, you know, removing some scabs and really getting in there, you're gonna.
But to get at least a vague understanding, I see what you're saying. At least a vague understanding, actually, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And even vague understanding, to me personally, if you have a vague understanding of something, you don't need to speak about it.
Yeah, it still might take over an hour just to get a vague understanding of it.
Yeah. It was like Matter of fact, my sister and we actually had a conversation about vegans, being a vegan.
Right.
I love meat. I don't care. Yo, I couldn't be a vegan because I promise you, if I walk into a room and I see a burger, I don't care if somebody was already eating it. I'm picking it up and I'm going to eat it if I haven't had meat in, like months on end. You know what I mean? I love meat. And of course my sister, she's a vegan, which of course I respect vegans. There was actually, because if you look at it, some people, they do it for a fad. They're just, doing it because, it's the new cool thing to do to try to be sophisticated, or whatever it may be. And then you actually have people who truly honestly care about, animals and everything else and right. to understand the process of what we do with our meat and what we do as far as cattling and things of that nature.
Right.
I have respect for vegans that are like that. Right. Because they're doing it for the right reasons, because they truly honestly have that big of a heart. Right. Me personally, I don't agree with what we do with our meat, but in the same sense, me personally, if I had it my way, I'll have, a farm in the back. I have me about 4 or 5 cows, you know what I mean? And so on and so forth. And once one of them gets to the point of, okay, yeah, you're dropping dead or it's suffering or something like that, I'm going to go back there, put a bullet in his ass and then eat him. Yeah, at the end of your life cycle. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's just personally the way I see it. And
that's cool.
I would never eat venison, though. I would never eat venison. Venison? Not venison. I'm sorry. I love deer meat. What the hell is it called, man? Is it venison? No, because venison is deer meat. What the hell is it called? Where they basically put a chain around a calf's neck and they hold it down. Don't even let it walk around to make sure that the meat is really soft and tender.
I don't. Yeah. You lost me there.
What the hell is it, man? I can't think of it for nothing. But I know when I hear it, or when somebody starts speaking about it, I realize that's what it is. Yeah, that's how often, I even want to look in that direction. Is I don't even remember the name of the damn shit, but I know once I see it, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not eating that shit. Because to be honest with you, that's cruelty beyond cruelty, the way that they handle that meat. Speaking of meat, let's talk about free range slavery. This happened to pop up in my head, and now mind you, last programming people, it was pretty planned. To basically talk about the Black Lives Matter movement and everything else. Today, I just wanted to wing it today. I've been, I got a family, been pretty busy. So we're winging it. All right.
Okay,
so
we just talk some stuff.
Yeah. So,
enlighten me, please.
Check this out.
On this topic.
Check this out. Now, a lot of people look at me kind of crazy when I talk about it. Okay. So do you know what free range, you know what free range chickens are, right?
Yeah, I know a free range chicken. So
yeah.
I believe, but I would probably be wrong.
Okay.
So just enlighten me on that.
Well, I was actually going to go into an explanation just in case if there's anybody who's watching this that doesn't know what free range chickens are. Basically, free range chickens are basically the chickens are allowed to basically roam the farm. Okay, instead of being stuck inside of a coop, and all they do is just not poop out, but just egg after egg after egg after egg, and then bam, hammer over the head, and then take them to the slaughter. The actually free range chickens are allowed to basically just roam around the farm. So basically, it gives the chicken the illusion of freedom, when in all actuality, it is still there for the slaughter.
Right.
Exactly.
Yo.
So I decided to use that as a way of explaining American society today. free range slavery.
And that is the best. And you know what? That analogy is the best way to describe how America's been run for decades.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's the best way.
Because
that's the best way.
The best way to keep people oppressed is if they don't even know it.
Right.
Okay. Now it's like, for example, let's take into account. I want to look at a place called Denmark. All right. Of course, in Denmark, they have a democratic socialist party. You know, that's running it. Most people in Denmark are democratic socialist. Now over there, they have basically a free healthcare system, free educational systems, meaning colleges is paid by their taxes and things of that nature. They have some of the smartest people in the world there in Denmark because of what the Democratic Socialist Party did for their people. And they have a very strong economy, everything else. You know, everything flows pretty good over there.
Right.
Now, don't get it wrong. Of course, there's still poverty. To be honest with you, I feel like the only way to truly honestly get rid of poverty is if everything was just absolutely just free. I mean, even your rent, there's no such thing as rent. You know, because there's people out there that truly honestly, they're just lazy. There's people out there that just don't want to work. You know, and then there are some who are, for example, veterans who just cannot cope with society. There are people out there that are homeless that you know, so I don't want to sit here and let anybody get any type of misconception and think that I truly honestly feel as if all of them are just lazy. No. But there are a good amount that, you know, they're drug addicts and so on and so forth, which stems to defunding the police. You know, rehab centers for people are another thing that they can start putting money in instead of trying to militarize the police. But anyways, back to the free range slavery thing. Free range slavery is like, for example, you know, over there, when they automatically get vacation time. It doesn't matter if you're flipping burgers. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Okay. And you have to take this vacation time because their taxes pays the employer to have you off. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, when a woman gives birth to a child, mandatory, they get 6 months off paternity leave as well as the husband. So it's not just the woman taking care of the baby. Both parents are home to be able to welcome that new child into the new world. Well, that world. Well, it's new to the baby, but you know what I mean? So it's like things of that nature. And then if you look at America, what exactly do our taxes take care of? People could say, oh, well, we got roads, we got this, we got that. Well, guess what? Before payroll taxes, we still had roads, we still had trains, we still had a bunch of other stuff.
Still have vehicles.
Yeah, but that's just payroll taxes.
Yep.
Without payroll taxes, which, mind you, the government makes trillions of dollars off of.
Yep.
I mean, they make so much money, it's enough money to choke a baby.
And
you know, they could drown a baby in those dollar bills.
And on top of that, there are people that are non-government officials that basically are running around with more money than the president.
Yeah, but then again, I mean, look at Congress. You know what I mean? Yeah. You have somebody like Mitch McConnell, who I like to call Money Mitch, the Weasel, who sit there whenever there's basically some type of health reform bill comes around. Him and the rest of the GOP, yeah, let's go ahead and shoot that down. And the next thing you know, they're getting money from healthcare, you know. And the sad part is people are not realizing that is the corruption. That is the corruption, is the fact that we have the Congress accept the money from these huge corporations. That should not be. Huge corporations should not influence our government, period. And that's why people don't understand. We haven't been a democracy in a long time. We have moved into the phase of an oligarchy, or what is it? Where it's the you know, it's basically the wealthy that runs this country.
The Great Depression.
No. I'm talking about basically a form of government. Hold on one second. Let me look it up.
Yeah, but you know, like, I hope all the viewers.
Oh, it's a plutocracy. Plutocracy. It's basically like a plutocracy. Okay. It's basically the wealthy that is running the country. That's basically what we have gotten to. You know what I mean? Because these politicians are swayed by these huge corporations and everything else. You know, and to me, I just find it funny how a lot of these people who are part of the GOP, basically the Republican Party, who don't even bother to look at who is lining their pockets. There are corporate Democrats. So I'm not sitting here trying to say that it's only the Republican Party. However, in all actuality, the wealthy is running this country, and they have a new form of free-range slavery, and that is making you believe that your voice actually counts, that you can that you're free, when in all actuality, you have to bust your ass 40 hours a week plus in some cases, because guess what? Yes, your boss can make you work overtime. So if anybody believes that your boss cannot do that, no, he can make you work overtime. He just has to pay you overtime.
Right.
You know? But that's for people who believes that your boss can't do that. Yes, he actually can. Now he can choose to give you the option. Yeah, he can choose to give you the option. But in actuality, he says you need to come in for a extra 8-hour shift, or you need to come in for another 12-hour shift over the weekend. Yes, you have to do it. You know. So but anyways, to get back to the point, you bust your ass. You're missing all this time with your family. You're not even able to afford health care. So basically, you know, you're running around here, you're working sick, you're not even making enough money to actually make ends meet. So you're basically living check to check. You can't pay for insurance. You can't pay for everything that your kid needs. I mean, hell, if you wanted to go ahead and take a day off, okay, say like, you know, if for example, if I took a few days off, one of my bills are not getting paid.
Right.
And I don't get paid minimum wage. That's the sad part. I don't even get paid minimum wage. And if I miss a day, one of my bills are not getting paid.
Right. Yeah, I'm in here doing overtime just to make up for a day that I called off.
Exactly. So how can I call myself free if that's how I'm living? I am living at the whim of my employer. I am living at the whim of this government.
Absolutely.
I am not free. I'm still oppressed by the rich, and I'm still oppressed by this government.
Wake up, people.
I should, you know, exactly. No American should have to live like that. You know, but then again, they get misinformation. They get all this this extra stuff with, once again, stems right back to not doing research. But you look at countries like Denmark and you're like, they can make it work. Why can't we? There's a way to make Denmark's same system work for us the same fucking way. Period. There's no excuse. You know, we got some of the brightest minds, you know that come here from other countries. And that's that's another thing too. Everybody wants to talk about foreigners taking their jobs. Guess what? The government puts it like that. That's why our educational system is shit. You can't be mad if somebody comes over from China, or somebody comes over here from Japan or something like that, or from India, and they end up taking your job. You can't be mad at that. Be mad at the damn fucking system because you don't even have the proper education to be able to actually take the job that they have.
Bingo.
But they don't want to hear me though.
Nah, they don't. No, they're not.
Yeah, they don't want to hear me though.
No, they're not hearing you.
They much rather wallow in their hate. Let me repeat that. This is the government's problem. This is why you don't. Don't blame the Mexicans. They come over here illegally. They can't even get a job, you dumbass. Unless you want to go work on a farm. You going to pick strawberries all day? What about you, Trouble Soul? You want to pick strawberries all day? Want to be out there in the field?
No.
No?
I'm not trying to do that.
Your ancestors were doing that, right? I should have fucking going out there and doing that.
Pretty much.
They're not coming to my job and taking my job because they can't. They don't have a United States Social Security number. They don't have the proper ID.
No.
They don't have none of that. They can't come to my job and take my job. So where the fuck do they get this from? You know, to me, that's the dumbest thing when they say illegal Mexicans come over here and take your jobs. Like, you are the dumbest motherfucker ever. Obviously, you don't even know how the American system works. Oh, they live off of government assistance and this, and this, da-da-da-da. Guess what? Unless you are a taxpayer in the United States of America or you are considered to be a legally registered citizen of the United States of America, you cannot collect food stamps. You cannot collect Social Security. You cannot collect any sort of government assistance program whatsoever unless you are a American citizen. Period. And yes, I just hit the mic, everybody. I'm sorry. That is just, this topic really fucking irritates me too, because it's fucking annoying. It's old.
It needs to be said because we live in a world, and we've been living like this for so many years, that people are ignorant. They're blind to what's really going on. And the fact that these blind people, these ignoramuses, keep supporting this kind of corruption kind of lets me know where everybody's at.
Mentally, exactly. You know, and that's why I once again I can't stress this enough. We are in the position we are in because of the American people. You cannot be mad. Matter of fact, because we got to wrap this up. I just realized we're well over an hour on this one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And I know you got stuff you got to take care of, so I want to go ahead and wrap this up, and then I'll talk to you a little bit further once we're off the air. Right. But I want to end it with this. Tupac said this perfectly. Okay. You know, and this right here, I want to make sure people understand too. This is reference to the buildup that is basically exploding at this current time inside of our nation right now. Okay, with the Black Lives Matter movement and crooked police and everything else. Okay, but Tupac said this perfectly. All right, he said, if I was inside of a hotel, right, and I was hungry, I had nowhere to get food.
Speak on it. I love that reference.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I knock on this door where a party is going on. And they open the door. Now, when they open the door, I see the party in the background. They're throwing salami. They're throwing bread. They're throwing all kinds of stuff around. So you can see there's a bunch of food and everything inside of that party. But the person that answered the door keeps telling you, there's no food here. So you try to sing your way in. We're hungry. Let us in. You know, knock on the door. You still get the same answer. There's no food here. And then it starts getting to the point, hey, we hungry. Hey, we hungry. Still, open the door, same answer in. It's going to get to, open the door, we hungry, open the door. Still, same answer. So then it's going to get to the point to where, yo, I'm picking a lock, and as soon as I walk in the door, guns blazing, the tune is going to change. People have asked nicely with the Black Panther movement. They asked nicely. Martin Luther King asked nicely. We've been asking nicely for so fucking long. What the fuck do you expect us to do? Because everybody else that asked nicely ended up dead or in jail. Once again, I'd like to thank you for tuning in. This is Stephen Powell. Thank you for watching Real Talk with me. Have a good one.
If I know that in this hotel room they have food every day, and I'm knocking on the door every day to eat, and they open the door, let me see the party, let me see like them throwing salami all over I mean, just like throwing food around, but they're telling me there's no food in here. You know what I'm saying? Every day, I'm standing outside trying to sing my way in. You know what I'm saying? We are hungry, please let us in. We are hungry, please let us in. After about a week, that song is going to change to, we hungry, we need some food. After 2-3 weeks, it's like, you know, give me all the food, breaking out the door. And after a year, then you just like, you know what I'm saying, I'm picking the lock, coming through the door, blasting, you know what I'm saying? It's like you hungry, you reached your level, you don't want any more. We asked 10 years ago. We was asking with the Panthers. We was asking with them, you know, with civil rights movement. We was asking, you know, now those people that were asking, they're all dead and in jail. So now what do you think we're going to do?